Hi, hi. We are back on Kaleidoscope, and this is Olivia, and I have so much to talk to you guys about. Okay, so for starters, let me just remind you that we have an application called Relax Ready, so make sure to download it on your your app store or your Play Store, and also make sure to follow us on our social media pages. That's Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. Okay, so I was kind of talking to you guys about mental health and how it has taken a toll on certain circumstances. So, just to let you guys know, okay, again, let me just run through this with you. You are important and you matter, and you're so loved, and your mistakes don't define you. Okay, reason why I'm communicating this with you guys when it comes to the aspect of mental health is because this has become a primary topic when it comes to discussion, because people have been suffering with mental health illnesses because they haven't realized that this was something that was so normal that they thought part and parcel of feeling didn't involve mental illnesses. And unfortunately, that's the truth, right? So let me just tell you what depression or around mental health, there's something called depression, which I'm here to talk about with you actively. So, a person living with depression oftentimes experience completely different thoughts before and after a depressive episode. This can be a result of a chemical imbalance and can lead to the person not understanding the options available to help them relieve their suffering. Many people who suffer from depression report feeling as though um they've lost the ability to imagine a happy future or remember a happy past, right? Often they don't realize they're suffering from a treatable illness and seeking help may not even enter their mind. Emotions don't want to die, but it's the only way they feel their pain, and their pain will end. It is a truly irrational choice. Suffering from depression is involuntarily, just like um, cancer or diabetes, but it is treatable and it can be managed, assuredly. So, why is depression undermined? So, depression is not about sensitivity. Here's something that I need to tell you guys about. Depression is not about sensitivity. Some of the strongest, toughest, take no prisoners type of people suffer with depression. I know because I know them. I know because I was them. Okay? There needs to be more openness and understanding surrounding mental health and well being. But we don't all need to be holding hands and showering each other with compliments and treading on eggshells, scared to say or do anything that may be misconstrued in some way. Far from it, okay? When someone is in the pits of despair, the best thing you can do is just be there for them in the most normal way possible. You don't have to do anything extraordinary or anything surreal. You don't have to change your behavior or your personality or the way you interact with them. You haven't got a magic wand, have you? You can't fix someone else's issues, but just being there for someone can make the biggest difference, especially when someone is immensely depressed inside. Now, something that when it comes to feeling depressed is just the a bit of sadness. Let's say most people prefer to say, I feel depressed just because they feel a certain level of sadness. The truth is, you're just feeling a bit of sadness. You're not depressed. Okay? To say you're depressed counts a lot more of these factors, aspects, traits, and these things actually make a big difference in comparison to feeling sad, right? See, that's what I'm saying. You do not have to provide advice as a person who's a witness to someone who's there as a victim. You do not have to give advice. There's no such thing as giving advice unless they ask for it. The best thing you can do is to be there just to make the difference. That's it. Sometimes, when wandering the corridors at work, perpetual cloud hanging ominously overhead, the sight of a friendly face coming towards someone is enough to make them feel better. And if honest surveys were taken in the workplace, there would be probably a surprising number of people who are depressed. And the reason why I'm saying this is because depression is something that people take ever so seriously, but also consider as a major joke and make memes and stuff about, which they shouldn't. And here's the reason why. Okay? According to the suicide rates, close to 800,000 people die due to suicide every year, which is one person every 40 seconds. Suicide is a global phenomenon as a result of depression or other concerns and occurs throughout the lifespan. Okay? And essentially, suicide is a global phenomenon, obviously, and 79% of suicides occur in low and middle income countries in 2016, according to surveys. Suicide accounted to 1.4 of all deaths worldwide, making it the 18th leading cause of death in 2016. Okay? This is why I keep saying, guys, that depression and suicide is nothing to joke about. Okay? The reason why is because the statistics are going crazy high and we need to start things, we need to start taking things more seriously. Okay? And the reason being is because if you say 800,000 people die every year because of suicide, imagine the change you can make for someone simply by being there for them. That's the truth. You can actually be there for someone just by being there for them. Just helping out by just being there. That's it. Sometimes offering advice is not necessary. Sometimes you just have to be there and listen to them because they need something to vent about. They want to scream out loud about something, and being there without offering advice which could potentially harm them is not advised on any level. So, from someone who was in that position of having depression, I'm telling you, part and parcel of being there for someone includes not providing fancy advice that that person may not necessarily need. I mean, especially if that person is seeking therapy or any sort of professional treatment. I don't think extra advice is necessary unless they ask for it. Okay? And hence why we need to look out for these things. Okay? So essentially, we need to understand this. Depression is part and parcel of every person's well being. Not every person gets it, but some people get there, but some people never get there, and some people drown in there. We need to figure out what does and where it does it. Okay? Especially in UK. Okay? Especially in UK. Are you aware? Okay, guys, are you really aware of these things? Do you know depression is there among 3 in 100 people? There's people who have depression. And people who have suicidal thoughts, essentially 1 in 5 people have suicidal thoughts. 1 in 14 people self-harm. 1 in 15 people attempt suicide. Can you see how crazy that is? The fact that there's someone among us who's feeling suicidal, who's feeling like they want to cut themselves, kill themselves, make themselves feel like absolute crap because they feel like crap. They think that's the right way to go, even when it's not. Right? And particularly people who, I mean, according to statistics at least, the people who do this are people who are in sheltered housing, they can be homeless, they can be in prisons, they can be in hospitals, they can be of the ages less than 16, they can be 16 and over, they could be living in private housing. Like there's no limit to who's going to do this and when, right? In fact, the amount of people with common mental health problems went up by 20% between 1993 to 2014. Okay, the percentage of people reporting severe mental health symptoms in any given week rose from 7% in 1993 to over 9% in 2014. The number of young women reporting common mental health problems has been going up. Can we just look at how critical this situation is? People reporting self-harm went up by 62% between the years 2000 to 2014. That means it's more than doubled. People reporting to have suicidal thoughts within the past year, guys, went up by 30% between 2000 to 2015. The number of people who self-harm or have suicidal thoughts is rising faster than any number people experience regarding mental issues. This should signal the issue that we are facing. We cannot consider mental health as a joke because this is how a person feels. And if we do not care for it, we are part of the problem, right? And there's so many causal reasons why depression occurs, which I will speak of in the next couple of segments that are coming up. But just to let you know, if you are going through this, it is not an excuse you're using to get away from things. It's not you being sensitive towards things. It's not just a face. So whoever's around you, okay, let's say you are someone who's speaking to someone with depression. Use your words carefully, because not every word that you use ever so carelessly is sufficient and right, especially if that person suffers with mental illnesses. So if you say words like you're using this as an excuse to get away from things, you're using this depression to be too sensitive, you're using this depression as a phase. It's not, guys. And it's not just for people to get attention. And sometimes we believe that people want attention just by being depressed. There are situations where people toxically lead to certain behavior as such, true. But we can't generalize and believe that depression is an excuse for people to run away from the reality. This is the reality itself. Mental illnesses is a reality when it comes to how the mind works. And the causal reasons can be due to trauma, age, economic problems, death, losses, gene issues, major events that may have occurred in their lives, which could have taken a twist of a turn in their lives. And you could never know which is which. This is why you need to be kind to people. This is why you need to be grateful towards people. This is why you need to be humble towards people. Because there's always someone out there who needs an extra bit of love and care and affirmation. This is why smiling at someone can actually make them feel better. Doing a bit of an extra move can actually make someone feel better. Right? I'm not saying it can cure depression, but to take an extra step to make someone feel better can actually make them feel so much more, especially when they feel like crap already on a daily basis. Yeah? So, with that being said, we have so much more to talk about. So, stay tuned. This is Relax Radio, and I'm Olivia from Kaleidoscope. Okay? Take care and see you soon again in a couple of minutes.